green down to the bunker and then from the bunker down to the lake. So the idea is that there would still be that kind of sharp edge on the left, but just having the green drop slightly and have the bunker more connected to that lake edge over there. So that's kind of what it looks like from afar. We won't talk about the cart path or anything like that, but and then when you kind of zoom in, so that the actual surface of the green would be about this level, and then it would come down in with a bunker down here on the left side. So very similar concept to what you play. Again, you still won't see the bottom, but at least this will make this hole not feel, because it's unusual to have kind of more than one uphill 3-par. I mean, there's a lot of courses you can find that have more than one uphill 3-par, but generally downhill, 3-pars, let's say like number 11 is a beautiful hole because you're playing downhill. Even 16, which is across the water, it's a big hole, it's a hard hole, but this is very similar in many respects to what number 4 is. So to make this feel less uphill, I think will be welcome. Definitely make an improvement. Then number 8, right now, most of the members are playing from here. White tees are back here, so this is really a nice angle to play the hole. Friendly, kind of play away from the water. You get a much better view of the landing area than you do down here. So trying to give members also the opportunity to play from here. And then as this lake work is done, to add a white tee on this side of the lake. And I'll show you some pictures there with a bunker that you could play over the top so you know which direction to play. And then, of course, this bunker you'll be able to pick up on the tee. The bunker that's back in the back now, so jammed in on this path where the steps are, that can slide a little bit right and will tie in definitely better. And then, unfortunately, these trees being gone, this is, I don't know, it's kind of really changed, I think, the way, because it'll just really allow people to bail out over here now and play in. So that needs to be looked at and replanted now that those are no longer with us. The other thing is bringing the green in closer to the water, and we'll look at some pictures of that. I was kind of describing that. I mean, of course, Valderrama nearby has the 17th, which is kind of near the water, which was a famous hole, in some ways famous for the wrong reasons in terms of, what happened with some of the different iterations of the green. I think that's been worked out now, but I kind of liken it more to, I think Augusta is probably a little bit better example for the front of the green on 15. If you watch, how it's you can either lay up or you can go for that second shot, but if you come up short, then you're going to find yourself backing down into the water. So as a short par 5, it can be a lot more strategic and interesting than I think what you have now, where you can come up a full club short and not have any fear of getting wet. This is the white tee angle, and so again, I mean, Trent Jones, I know, did not have those palms in there. I know he didn't have this tree in there. He'd be telling, get those out of there. What are they doing in there? They're messing up my hole. Of course, at one time, this was one of the favorite holes, I guess, in the continent of Europe as a par 5, as a double dogleg par 5. Now, of course, that's all been lost, and now it's being used as a practice facility. Everybody kind of plays the hole up the left-hand side. So I don't see how we're going to get that back without significant changes to the hole, especially the trees over here, but at least we can make a significant improvement, by getting, I think, members up on this angle. Then this would be a little bit left of where the back tee is, but the back tee is coming up through that angle. A palm like this is, against the lake, breaking up the side of the lake, but would be a beautiful palm to pick up and put somewhere really special around the course, somewhere where more people could see it and appreciate it. And we've got a lot of palms that are nice, but this one in particular is a very nice looking palm. Even someplace, if there's something near the clubhouse or somewhere where you really want to have a focal tree, this would be a good one to use. And they're very easy to move. As you know, people pick them up and move them into new houses or new developments all the time. Of course, these paths have all been added since the original golf course. Very sharp cuts, sharp fills. Typically that all would have been tied in with a longer slope. We have the opportunity now, at least on this one, we're not going to really get number 3 fixed, but at least in here we have the opportunity to elongate the slope, get rid of the stairs here, and make that bunker fit back in to the slope that's up here on the left. Of course, this is the path that comes down on 8. I don't know if you can see when the concrete was fresh, somebody drove through it and it was allowed to drive, and then a drain was kind of haphazardly cut in here, and these kind of things are done. And it makes a statement about the club. And it's these kind of details that when people come, it's like when it's our house, we don't notice the lint on the carpet, or we don't notice that, the tiles are cracked, or we don't notice those things because we live in it every day. But when people come from the outside, these are the kind of things they pick up on, and they say, this doesn't really doesn't put our best foot forward. So the opportunity to do some of those now, but hopefully bringing it to the club's attention. It'll be some of these things you can just do as kind of ongoing maintenance work over time, and just replacing them bit by bit, and getting the place tidied up a little bit. So this is, of course, the view in, and now with these trees all gone, it's really going to changes that left side quite a bit. If you look at from the side, this was kind of up by the practice range, kind of looking in from where that other option was when you had the option par 5. Able to bring that and roll that green, the edge of that green up near the creek there, really add a whole, kind of a different feeling to the front of that green in that shot, where now I can go for it and be a club short and still be safe. I can miss it in the bunker, and I can even miss it short of the bunker and still find it. So won't really make the total length a lot longer, but it certainly will help make the hole a lot more fun to play. The ninth tees, one of the things that is shown, and I probably should have addressed it with number 1, is if you look at the distance from number 1 to the out of bounds, the distance from then the center to this ninth tee to the 8th green, it's very, very tight kind of area in there. So just trying to get the first hole to play away from and direct people to play away from the housing down into the fairway, so the bunkering setup should help that. But even the tee, to have where the existing tee is, to have some landscape in there so people do come left to the tee like they do now. And then with, of course, 8 green moving, that's a very nice, very nice effect. One of the things that really I think people will appreciate is the angle now playing up this way. Even though it seems like not much of a change from here to here, just that 10, 15 meters makes a big difference in terms of you look up at the hole, you really feel like you're playing right up the throat of the fairway now. Of course, the bunker that's back in the trees that people have kind of forgotten about over the years, that bunker goes away. There's bunkers that are brought out to the right. So you can either play something up the left-hand side, short of this bunker, play, long right, play the hole with it up here to the wood, maybe drive. I mean, I can tell you one young man right over this bunker, right up into the throat of the green, who's now in college, but he comes back here. He's a member here, so drivable hole for. Right now, from the patio, this green is blocked right by the railings and that. So you can see the front of the green now. So the back of this green is actually the front of the existing green, and then the green slightly moves left and back away from the patio. As this angle rotates this direction down the sheet, if you will, I guess counterclockwise, then the actual dog leg. You're losing signal?
Yes.
Uh-oh. Move in. Does a pillar help?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the pillar. Okay. Okay, so but the angle of the hole right now, you come from the tees in this position, and then the green turns up into here. So now this rotates a little more down the page, if you would, to the right, and then the green rotates left. So you play a very similar angle, very similar kind of a dog leg, very short. Again, same length as you have now. What this does is also get this area in the back of the bunker that we'll see is where, well, let's start with the tee, and then I'll show you as we get up to the green. So that this is taken to the right of where the new tee would be, but if you kind of move away from the existing tee, you get a little bit better feel for the angle, which is an improved angle up this right-hand side. And then this is the approach into the green. So this green would sit right out here a little bit, covering this bunker and a little bit left of where it sits now. One of the things we'd be able to do is get more space off this, what's right side of the green. Of course, this bunker, obviously not a Trent Jones bunker. I'm not sure exactly what happened here, whether, I mean, somebody probably knows the history of this, but it looks like this green got raised on this corner. And then, of course, this is a very dramatic plunge down here. So gets us a little bit away from the building, gets us a better view from the terrace out to the green, and gets us away from where people are putting down here on the right-hand side and also off this path. So if we go back to these palms, and these palms would be picked up and moved over here to the right. And then this putting green that I referenced before, I should probably connect that back on this slide, is this was just something that kind of emerged as I started kind of moving, taking advantage of the land that we had here, moving this green back into a more comfortable kind of position. It was like, okay, we have this space here. I know, some decisions have been made to not really improve the practice facilities, but this putting green, very crowded, very shady, so not, something that you would show up and really say, wow, that's our A putting green. That's the best we have. Of course, we have another putting green up here on the top on the terrace, which is still kind of a fun little spot to go out there and hit putts. But the convenience of having something near the first tee, up here in a good location, kind of back in behind where this green, is at one level. This is 3 meters higher than that green. So it creates quite a bit of elevation difference. I mean, ideally, I would love to do like an Oakmont kind of, I don't know if you know Oakmont back in Pennsylvania, but they play a lot of U.S. Opens or major championships there. But they actually have the putting green and the ninth green actually all tied together into one green. And they do it without a bunker. They just do it with a big step into the green. And there's certain kind of an elegance of just having this lawn mode as a putting green and having it just roll down into the green that really creates a special effect in front of the clubhouse. In this case, what we're showing is a fairway kind of a connection or so, a tight mow back up into the corner of that putting green. So hopefully that kind of explains the rationale behind why to get you a much better position. Yep. I mean, I'm surprised you don't have a lot of guys having a lot of balls coming up into the terrace now. I'm surprised you don't have a lot of balls coming down into this putting green right here now. Do you? I mean, I think one thing you should just realize is the dimensions on this golf course in general, and I don't think this is dangerous, in my opinion. It's compared to and what's dangerous and what's not dangerous. Anytime you're on a golf course, you can get hit by a golf ball. I mean, I say if you're 300 yards from anybody on the golf course, you can get hit. So, but I don't find this with the elevation difference with people that are trying to drive the hole on this particular case aren't going to fly it over the back of the green. And then other players are going to be playing shorter irons into this. It's not like it's people are loading up with long irons. It's not like the hole is going downhill where balls tend to carry more. You're playing uphill. Could somebody scull a ball out of the bunker and hit somebody back here? Sure. But, I mean, you've got that condition right now. I mean, you must have people sculling balls back up here against this wall or against the terrace. So, I mean, no, you're not 50. Oh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 We could go through and I could show you hole after hole, case after case after case with this kind of relationship, and it works all over the world. But I mean, to me, what is safe, what is not safe is, it's got plenty of distance. That's all I can tell you. Really? Well, now I would think almost if you have a back pin on the current setup, I'd be surprised if you didn't have every other shot hitting the wall. Because, I mean, you're right against the wall, especially if it's back right. I mean, this is like, right now it's kind of like the old course at St. Andrews, the 18th. That's good. I've got some hands.
There's a terrific tendency for players to play short of the pin because it's out of bounds at the back. And I would have thought it was quite, sort of, as it were, common to have an out of bounds at the back of a green occasionally. And, you know, that, for my mind, to have people standing on that green is much more dangerous than the danger to people walking on the top of that terrace.
Okay. And what can you, how much you can say? It's an opinion.
Hello.
I think that what you should also consider here in that research is that we wait on the first tee for the tee to clear before the next group go off. There's a temptation for people to cut across the back of the first tee onto the putting green. There's a temptation for people to cut across the back of the ninth green onto the putting green from the practice range. There's a temptation for people, rather than go down the entrance to the first tee, I presume you're going to put some steps or something at the back of that putting green. There's a temptation for people to take their clubs down the steps and enter the first tee, unknown to the starter, from the putting green. It's a big problem.
Hello.
Okay.
I'm Doris Eriksson, Share 766. First of all, I fully agree with the two gentlemen who already made comments, so I will try not to reiterate too much. However, you are visiting here, and maybe during the winter and so on. I do not think, indeed, that we have people who are actually sitting at that side of the clubhouse ever. Sometimes when there's a big tournament, a few people looking at the ninth green. But our main terrace is looking towards the 18th. So actually, your concern, which I understand, about approaching greens in a better way by lowering them and so on, this philosophy you would completely lose, I'm afraid, on the ninth, because you want to have a good approach to the green. There, what will happen? You will see a bunch of people moving around on that green behind the ninth green. You will see them, as the other gentleman said, scrambling down, taking a shortcut to the first tee. I must say, I've played a few golf courses in this world, and one of the things which I dislike is, for instance, when you stand on the first tee, take now Soto Grande, and you have next to you a putting green. The people on the putting green are moving, which is normal, and talking. Enfin, it is disturbing and it's busy. There where you try to make everywhere the approaches to the greens better, there I'm afraid you would make a major mistake. And moreover, this has not been voted upon. When you read, and I'm not sure you are aware of this, but I will therefore put it forward to you. Article 12 at our AGM of the 20th of April 2011 states the following, blah, 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 holes 1 to 9, complete, existing original layout with ta-ta-ta, cost budget, etc. You have been speaking a lot about Robert St. Jones Sr., with all the respect he is due, and I think you do very well with that, but this would certainly not get his approval.
Well,
thank you very much.
I would say to you that he would come out here and say, why did you build the clubhouse on top of my green? Why did you have all these people on this path today? There was buggies lined up, people walking up and down with trolleys, just a few meters off the back of the green. So for people to be really so worried about people putting up there, which is certainly less movement and noise than buggies and trolleys and people tromping up and down the concrete. If you don't want to build a putting green there, I don't care. I really don't. But get the green back away from the wall. It'll be more visible. It'll be a lot more space around. You won't be hitting back up against the wall. It'll just be a much better set. Really not enough room there, and you want to just leave it as a big lawn back behind the green? Leave it up there. I would say to you that you're desperate for practice facilities. Your practice facilities should be almost embarrassed with what you have. But I'm amazed you're not. So any other club I'd walk into, the first thing practice facilities are really bad.
Could I just clarify one point? The proposed putting green is going to be elevated over the 9th green.
Yeah.
By about 3 meters, did you say?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the existing grades, if you just picked up the back kind of corner here, the idea was to basically make this a flatter lawn instead of it just being one slope back. And then you'd have the green that would, you know, start from the front, so it would be slightly elevated as it is today. You'd have this bunker in the back, and then that would be, you know, of course, the backing in the bunker, that would roll over into the putting green back here. And then you'd be able to, you know, if you could walk, as was said, you could walk from the first tee to the putting green. That would be the idea. I mean, there's not, I don't know what percentage of people play the white tee, but that is where you'd be moving, would be back and forth. Most clubs I work with are thrilled to have a putting green somewhat near the first tee. While they're waiting and doing that, they can hit a few putts, and whether they choose to hit balls or not. So the fact this club doesn't want that, I mean, that's your choice. The other side of it is that you have also the opportunity to become, you know, from this direction up into, you know, the back of this. But if you look at the distance now, where the back of the green, let's see if I can get this thing up here. Oh, I just went the wrong way. Nope, here we go. So the back of the green is here. That's the back of your green. Okay, now the back of the green is here. So you've got this nice big area in here. If you choose to use it for nothing, that's fine.
Could I just continue? No. So the putting green, the people on the putting green are protected by the bunker. So someone would have to have a shot which overflies the green,
yep,
overflies the bunker,
yep,
goes uphill by 9 meters, right? Sorry, 3 by 3 meters, yeah, which is 10 feet, right? I don't think it's... No, I think people are panicking.
Look, is anything possible? I mean, I'm not going to say it's possible in golf. I mean, you've seen all sorts of shots, and you've played with people, including yourself, that have hit them. But as far as saying that that's in some kind of unreasonable position, it's just not. But, you know, if you guys don't like it, you don't like it. You don't have to have it. I mean, I play a lot of courses with no trees at all. A lot of links courses where you see people with you play the old course, you got double greens. You got people putting, you know, right behind you all the time, moving around behind you. I mean, to me, my reaction is it sounds like, you know, a comment I would expect from Monty. You know, Monty was always kind of known for all of a sudden, you know, seeing everything around him and being distracted by everything. And so, you know, for me personally, I think it'd be a lovely thing to have back there. If I was a member, I'd welcome it, and I wouldn't find it to be a distraction whatsoever. I'd be happy to be a little bit farther from the noise of the terrace with my 9th green, and to have a few people putting back there would be fine. To have an extra putting green, I would be.
Hello. Hello. I've got a lot to say.
Okay.
I'm reading from a transcript here, if anybody's taking minutes. Some of it doesn't affect you, Mr. Phillips, but I, along with a majority of my fellow members who play here for a large part of the year, were misled into believing the mandate for new greens did not mean redesign. I'm assured the small print says otherwise, and reluctantly and regretfully, I would suggest this lack of transparency and not listening to the members is historically quite normal at Las Brisas. We all thought the greens were being renovated and reconstructed exactly as they were, and we were misled. It's a very sad state of affairs. Personally, and ironically, I was not against an element of redesign. Nonetheless, I would have preferred a lot more transparency. I would like to thank our captain, Graham Potter, for doing so much in the last couple of weeks to answer as many questions as he could and do his very best for so many members to explain these proposals. His patience in listening to complaints and offering explanations on the terrace has been absolutely immense. What a wonderful change from the past. We need more members on the junta like Graham Potter. How refreshing. Now let me comment on the redesign proposals. I personally feel Mr. Phillips has done an excellent job overall in updating our course. I think the new putting green is wrong, and the sizing of the front greens needs re-examination. The front tees, that is, not greens. Otherwise, congratulations. I'm sure there will be wiser heads than mine to add further comments. Mr. Phillips, I presume that by attaching your name to our famous course, you will be endeavouring to make golf here at Las Brisas a pleasurable experience. In this respect, I'd like to bring you...
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I think that if you think that I'm in this to put my name to Las Brisas, that I'm going to gain some fame by this, I would call this a very Spartan refining or remodeling of this golf course. This certainly is not an architectural statement. This isn't something that I'm doing to put my name on. I've got my name already on a couple of courses that are top 100 in the world, top 100 in America, that this would not be something that I'm doing for those reasons. I'm doing it because of some relationships with people. I'm doing it because of my commitment to Mr. Jones and trying to see that his work is respected. And to be quite candid with you, you're being very kind of complaining about the way maybe things have been communicated. But I'm just saying, I think he would be very offended by the way you've taken care of his work over the years. It's clear that the work that has been done by this club has been in-house. It's been done by people that are amateur architects. And I walked through this golf course the very first time, and I could point out every single thing that you guys have done. So when you start talking